Hi everyone, before we get started with the video here, I would just like to make a very quick and exciting announcement, which you would have already heard if you watch my Techtopia series. So if you're hearing this for a second time, apologies for repeating, I just want to let everybody know in case they only watch one of my series. So the announcement is, I now have channel memberships. Now, if you're not sure what that is exactly, basically it's a monthly subscription that supports me and helps keep my channel going, and in return you get some pretty cool perks. Such as access to my custom resource pack, which gets requested on virtually every one of my videos, so you'll be able to get your hands on that as a member. You will also get any world downloads that I provide for my builds and my Let's Play worlds, such as this one right here. And there will also be a members only channel in my Discord server where we can privately chat about the rest of you. Just kidding, obviously that's not what it's for. It's for whatever purpose you guys see fit. And of course I'll be chatting on there too. Lastly, you will also be able to get custom emotes to use in the comments and have a cool little icon next to your name that changes over time the longer you are a member. So if you like the sound of that, please feel free to check it out. You simply click the join button next to the subscribe button down below. But with all that being said, please do not feel like you need to. If you don't want to or are unable to become a member, it's no problem. I promise I will not think any less of you at all. The option is just there if you would like it. And I should say, those of you who are subscribed to me on Twitch will also get everything I've just mentioned. Anyway, thank you everybody so much for listening, and we'll get started with the video now. Hello everybody, my name is Marlo and welcome back once again to the single player world. I hope you guys are doing very well today. Thank you for joining me for this episode where we are going to be working on our custom village here. I've got some cool builds in mind and a couple of things I've been meaning to do for quite a long while that we're gonna finally get to today. But before we do that, I need to update you on something that we built last episode, which is the villager trading ship over here. So in case you missed the episode, basically it's a villager breeder and trading system all on board this ship right here. This build, however, was good in theory, but I need to pillar my way up to actually get on board. We'll break that block again afterwards. But yes, this is our villager breeder on top of the deck up here, and then down below is my villager trading hall. It's not really much of a hall, it's actually very, very small. We've only got, I think, 12 villagers in here, but it's all I really need. However, if you can see that guy right there, that was a problem. And basically, if the children don't fit into any of these slots, which they won't because they're all full up, they sometimes grow up in that little area right there and are kind of stuck. So I have remedied that now. Basically, I've made a way to kill them without actually having to do it myself. At least that's not what they think. So this right here is my note block texture with an observer below it, connected up to a dispenser that has arrows inside, and you can probably guess where I'm going with this. They actually need to be stood at like a weird angle, but basically I just flick the note block over and over again and they get hit with the arrows and eventually end up dying. Still haven't really figured out a way how to turn this off, which would be a little bit quicker, but yeah, that's just a fun and kind of horrific way of killing them, but it works and it doesn't affect the trades in any way. So yeah, we have all of these trades maxed out to what I wanted them to be, with the exception of this guy right here, who I was trying to get a sharpness 5 book off of, but I just kept being really unsuccessful. So I'm going to do 3 tries here on camera and maybe I'll get lucky, but I'm going to guess not, because I have placed down a grand total of 983 lecterns and not one of them has been sharpness 5, so I think I'm going to give it up a bad job. But enough about last episode, let's get started on this one. So we are going to be doing some work over in this little section here, just beside the tavern and the cartographer's home. I've got a few builds in mind that is going to like complete this little area here, and the first one is actually going to be the village church, and it's going to go somewhere right where that horse is, so he's going to have to move. Quick question for you guys. How long is too long when it comes to time lapses? I always try aim somewhere between 30 seconds and 1 minute 30 seconds. Otherwise, I feel like it just drags on a bit too long. But yeah, what do you guys think is like a good length for a time lapse of a single build, let's say? Obviously, when I do more than one thing, it gets a little bit longer, but let me know. I'd be interested. I'm just curious, really. But yeah, this right here is our church, and it's looking pretty sweet, if I do say so myself. You saw the most of it being built, so I don't really need to show you around. Maybe I'll just do a quick fly around with the laggy shaders on. There's just so many entities and particles around this place that it gets a little bit much at times. But yeah, very happy with how this one looks. So I think let's head inside, because you didn't really see that all too well, only from above. It's pretty basic what we got going on in here. The idea is just like a pretty simple church, right? This is where villagers would get married maybe, or some other important things take place, but they stand on their sea lantern lit pedestals up here, and got some pews in the church where the villagers can sit and watch. And yeah, just kind of smoothed out the roof and everything. Got a couple of paintings on display just to spruce up the walls a little bit. And yeah, there's not a whole lot going on in here other than that, but I think it's okay. Really, there is only so many things you can put in a church, and this one isn't exactly massive, is it? Hey buddy, how are you doing? Not awfully intimidating at all up there, just looking down at me. How long have you been sitting around? You are a naturally spawned iron golem, which means our village here is functional. This poor guy has been stuck here for so long. I should probably like push him down, but he just climbs back up. Yeah, so when a village is like a proper village, and you know, mechanically speaking, they start to spawn iron golems to help protect the village. So that's awesome. We got a couple of these guys around, or maybe just one. Probably just one. I haven't seen another one, and they're pretty hard to miss. So yeah, that's awesome. But what we're gonna do now is just jump straight into another kind of time lapse. There's another build I want to do just behind me here next to our church, which is actually going to be a general store for the villagers. And instead of just doing another time lapse with some music, I thought we'd do something a bit different and explain my thought process when it comes to building. Now, this is something I've done on my channel quite a lot, probably a good few times in various series and tutorials, but there's quite a lot of new people who have joined the channel recently, so maybe this will be of help to some of you guys. Now, before we get started, this is based on you already having an idea of how you want your build to look. So step number one is to just get an idea in your head. Use Google search to find some inspiration of how you want your build to look. So yeah, you got a rough idea vaguely of what it's going to look like. But the first thing when it comes to actually building, as always, is putting in all of the pillar points of the build. So this kind of helps you dictate how high you want it to be, the length and the width, and just the general size of the build. By placing in all of the corners virtually, it just lets you see what kind of size you're looking at. So once you got all of that done, I then like to do the roof outline. So you can think whether you want a tall roof, a bit of a shorter roof, a nice smooth roof. And yeah, this is the block that kind of is on the outer edging, and then the middle bit will fill in afterwards. So the one I'm using here isn't actually a good example really, because it's a bit of a crazy build and not something that simple. I say crazy, it's not that crazy, it's just not very even. It's not that great of an example, so hopefully you guys have something that's a bit more simple, I would say. But yeah, it's just filling out the actual outline of the roof and how you want that to be structured. And then once you got that sorted out, you can then go ahead and fill it all in, like I'm doing here with the oak, and just kind of smoothing it out to get it look as nice looking as possible. Quite a lot of my roofs, especially in this village, have a bit of a crazy look, but they do look somewhat smooth, I would say. So once you got the outline and the roof all filled in, we can then start work on the walls. And the first thing I do is kind of just fill them out with whatever block I'm going to use, whether it's white terracotta or brick, for example, and I add in where I want the doors and the windows to be. So I get all of that figured out first of all, and then I go around and add in all of the detail, which I would suggest, if you don't really know what detail blocks to add in, Google something just as simple as 1.14 Minecraft house. I say 1.14 because a lot of the 1.14 blocks that were added are great for detailing. Lanterns, campfires, barrels, all of the trapdoors, they all make for wonderful stuff, and feel free to use some of the things I'm using here. as inspiration, but yeah, I just go around detailing, and that right there is the finished build, aside from the inside of course, which is what we'll work on now. Not before replacing this dirt block with a stripped spruce log. Whoopsie, hopefully that didn't annoy too many of you in the time-lapse, but it certainly annoyed me once I noticed it. I already replaced the brick, but just forgot to do that as well. Anyway, let's head inside here and do some building. So I'm going to partially do this on camera so you can kind of see my thought process here. And I've got all of my supplies in here ready to go, and the first thing we're going to grab is actually all of the oak along here and try and just smooth out this ceiling to get it looking a little bit better. So we can have some upside down oak stairs underneath these small parts, and then next to the windows I'm thinking we actually break those slabs right there, which will reveal the outside, but we can just place some upside down stairs again to make this kind of like arch shape going over the top. Already got a similar thing going on that side. Let's just smooth out this little section and maybe just below it as well, something a bit like that, and possibly just curve these round to the side, something like this, and then we should probably do the same over here. And as for the top here, I'm thinking we just cover all of this spruce up with some oak slabs and maybe bring these two down by a little bit. So if we just go back down to the floor level, you can see that's a bit neater than what it was before. I think we need to cover this up, and instead of using the oak stairs again, I'm thinking we just put a line of logs going all the way across. I will have to get my hands on some brick to place on that block right there, unless we just did another log there, or does that look weird? No, that's okay, I think. Alright, awesome, and then we'll get our oak out again and just make this look a little better. So let's fill all of that in, but I don't really like the look of that, so I'm thinking we make these stairs as well. That reveals the outside, but we can cover it back up and it should look the same. Okay, awesome. Now we can take out the floor. And we are going to replace it with some dark oak logs. Now, we do have these things right here, which just for now I'm going to remove, and I might do something else with them later on. This is the only trouble with using the wall trick when it comes to the floor, that you can see it from the inside and the outside as well, as you can see here. But all we're going to do with the dark oak logs is just do the classic crisscross pattern of, you know, placing it on the side of the block each time to just make this sort of checkerboard pattern, and then we'll go ahead and strip it all, which will give us quite a nice floor design, as you can see. Come on, there is like a single pixel there that I want to place on. Aha, there we go, I did it. Can't really do it for this one, but I can do something like that. There we go, and just give this a quick strip. And that right there is the main build all done. We're now ready to sort of start building some of the more detailed blocks, like the counters and shelves that we're going to have inside of this shop. And for those blocks, we're going to be using some dark prismarine as the tables, and probably just some spruce trapdoors as the shelves. Let's maybe just put some of this stuff away to clear out our inventory a little bit. Got some dirt and wheat that I'm just going to leave on the ground out here. So I'm thinking we have the main counter over here and just place probably that many blocks along, but we might just curve this one round to the side ever so slightly. So that can be where the clerk stands behind that thing. Maybe this can be a bit of a table over here. And then we'll probably put some shelves on this spot, so maybe just something like that, and then possibly over in this corner again. I might rework this afterwards, but yeah, maybe something like that is good. And what we can do now is probably fill up the main gap in the center here. So I'm thinking what we do is just make a bit of a table using some stairs upside down, of course, and then curve this one round. So yeah, we got the counter here, which probably, or is my chocolate box up on the wall here, could probably use a covering just like that to differentiate them. And yeah, now we can start placing some stuff on all of these tables and shelves. There we go, that's looking pretty cool. I'll show you what all of them are in just 1 second, but before we do that, we should probably try and light this place up a little bit more. So we're going to have a spruce trapdoor there with a chain and lantern underneath, which I believe should get everything above light level 7, which is what I try to aim to do in all of the buildings on the inside at least. The outside, not so much. Speaking of which, I should probably go sleep. So I think over in this corner right here, we could probably do with having a barrel and a chest just as extra storage. And then I've also put some more shelves up here on the wall, kind of behind the desk, maybe the more important items that the clerk would have to, climb this ladder to actually reach. And I want to place a double chest up here just for some like big storage up there of secretive items maybe. But yeah, I think the final thing I want to add in is just this iron bar here. And because this is a stair, it won't connect. Kind of looks like something that maybe could retract if the person working here wants to get in. I know you can actually just jump, but use your imagination. So that right there is actually the whole of the inside all done. Real quick, I think I'm just going to show you what all of these are. So we have some charcoal over here for our villagers to keep their fires lit. A little bit of a food stand, just some sugar, bread, and some fruit. And the flower pots that are empty, I'm just imagining they're filled with something that's of use. I don't know what that is, but again, imagination. And over here we have some rope that the villagers might use, some sea pickles that can be, I don't know, candles maybe, that will actually get proper candles in 1.17. How awesome is that, by the way? Very much so looking forward to it. Some paper, and then up here we have some honeycomb for some reason. Don't really know why, just felt like that was kind of a valuable item that you might have to climb the ladder to get. A lever, maybe a tool of some kind, and then another empty flower pot. So yeah, that right there, very simply, is the general store all done. I think it looks quite good in here. Quite busy, but that does make sense. So now that we have the general store built as well as the church, I think I want to work on just finalizing this area. So I'm imagining this little section of the village is going to be fairly frequently visited. So I would like to make the most of this area into actual pathway, kind of going around in a circle here, like the route I'm taking, leaving this spot open in the center for a water fountain, which I think could look really nice, kind of at the finish point of this pathway going through. We'll probably bring it on out to that door over there, as that was the original plan, and we do have a bit of a gap this way, and I'm thinking something cool I could potentially do is just set up some sort of like fishing area, maybe a couple of chairs and some fishing rods, and do something a bit smaller and detailed over here. I think could be cool, but for right now I think I'm just going to work on the pathway and the water fountain in the center. There is something really quite relaxing about fishing in this game, especially with shaders on. It just makes it feel even more immersive. Oh, amazing, we got our lily pad. Let's put that in the fish box, although maybe not. We will store a fishing rod in there though, however. So yeah, this is the simple setup I've made. Just a few chairs and tables around with a lantern to actually light this area up, our fish barrel, and then our sandwich chest, because of course every good fisherman needs their sandwich to bring with them each time. And any guesses on what these are? I'm hoping it's fairly obvious. It's meant to be a net. Obviously you can't really build a fishing rod. It's too like finicky and small of a build to pull off, but with cobwebs I think I can get away with doing a net. So yeah, that's just a very small build. I really do quite like that detail. And of course this is the fountain with our pathway going all the way around. I think this turned out really well. Doesn't block the view of the church too much, but yeah, enough so that it kind of drags attention to the fountain, but not away from the church at the same time, if that makes sense. There is one quick thing I would like to do up here. Instead of having this wall, I would like to have some soul sand so that we get some bubbles. If we just, are they gonna start bubbling? Yep, it's going. If we head down there, we should be able to maybe see them a little bit from the bottom. Not with shaders, but I got a feeling we will if we didn't have them on. Nope, still nothing. But at least we know it's bubbling at the top there. That right there looks really cool. So this is everything we've done in the episode. The general store, the church, the little fishing area over here, and of course the fountain. I know we still have to add in the pathway. We're going to get to that in a little bit. And there's still probably a few areas like around here could do with some things. And then in this section here, just next to the vineyard, could do with at least some foliage maybe. Just a couple of trees and bushes and whatnot. But we're going to take a very quick break from the village because I want to go and do something related to all of the names at the bottom here with my tools. All of my tools along here have their own individual names, as you can see. The Lumber Lopper, the Sand Scooper, the Flint and Feather Flinger, the Rock Remover, and the Pillager Punisher. You can probably see the theme there. Alliteration. My armor and elytra, however, are not called anything, so that's what we're going to do now. Give them a name. The first two here are actually viewer suggestions from one of my wonderful subscribers, Sean Duggan, who suggested Shin Shielders for the name of the leggings. And the other is for the elytra, which is going to be called the Cloud Conquerors. Very cool. I like those suggestions. Thank you, Sean. Your others were very good as well, but these two were my favorite. The helmet is going to be called the Brain Blocker. The boots will be called the Feather... Oh, I'm out of levels. I need to get some more. As I was saying, the boots are going to be called the Feather Fallers. And last but not least, we have the Torso Toughener. I'm gonna have to start wrapping up this episode soon, but before we do, there are two more things I would like to do. The first one is to place a bell here above the doorway in our general goods store so that we can pretend whenever someone walks through, the bell will ring. And the other thing is a live stream. So I've got a live stream coming up soon, and I think what I would like to do is do the majority of the pathways in this village, at least where we have this white, man, I'm really colorblind today, yellow concrete powder dotted around. So this pathway connecting up here, go into that door, and probably this one over here as well. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do in the stream. Get a lot of the pathways done, and I'll show you the progress afterwards. One stream later, and as you've seen, the pathways have been added in throughout the entire half of the village. Obviously, we've still got to do that area over there next to the town hall and marketplace, but I just want to get this section of the village done first of all before we cross over the bridge. But yeah, we have got the main pathway added in everywhere I want it, I think, but we do of course have to add in all of the little bits here and there on the side, like the custom trees and the other foliage and lampposts, for example. That sort of thing I'm going to worry about at later stage, but for right now we've just added in the pathways, and now we kind of know where we need to build some buildings here, for example, and kind of over this general stretch, as well as a few other places here and there. But yeah, that is awesome. I've been meaning to do that for quite a long time. I do just want to say a massive thank you to all of you who came out to the stream today. It is hugely appreciated, and as always, and yeah, I have so much fun on the stream with you guys. It always is a blast. But thank you to you for watching this episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. I had loads of fun making it, as always. The rain comes right at the end. But yeah, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.